Welcome everyone to another episode. It's Annalena here, your host. I'm super excited to have another amazing guest with me here. We recently connected over Instagram. I think I posted something about human design, how it's all an experiment. And before I read your bio, Bruno, I just want to say hi. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure and an honor.
Yeah. Likewise. So I'm gonna introduce you formally. So Bruno Perales was born in Barcelona, Spain, the youngest of 8 children, and raised to fit into his family's expectations. He studied industrial engineering and economics, learning also several languages in preparation for a diplomatic career. And his path was largely influenced by his father, who was born in 1940, who also has battled numerous health issues. And in 2021, during a practical internship in Munich, Germany, for his master's degree, he experienced a pivotal moment. The distance from his family allowed him for the first time to introspect and realize he had strayed far from his true essence. This realization led to eating disorders and severe depression. Seeking self-discovery, he turned to various tools such as the Enneagram, morphopsychology, numerology, human design, and gene keys. And these helped him realign with his core self, promoting him to pursue his own path despite lack of family support. And then he ventured into modeling, public speaking, and social media. And recently you found your twin flame, and they now plan to move to Costa Rica in October, expecting their first child in early 2025. So welcome, welcome. So happy to have you.
Really good description. I think it summarizes the life of a six two or a six in its first 30 years. A lot of change.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
Yeah. So you're a 6-2 emotional manifesting generator in tropical human design, right?
Yes. Yes. Exactly.
So tell us a little bit about how learning that was helpful for you.
Okay. Yes. I think it was a process. When I started with human design, I started like 4 years ago. The ex-girlfriend of my brother said, "Oh, this human design, you have to look at it." And so I pulled the chart, but of course I wasn't not in the point of, yeah, I'm looking for answers. So I didn't read anything. It was afterwards when it came again. I don't know how, and I read this about this manifesting generator that is wanting to look for satisfaction. And then I started with that, and I said, okay, basically my life doesn't satisfy me. So what's actually what satisfies me and what brings me enthusiasm. And then I started realizing that I always wanted to model in photos and videos. And
Mhm.
I'm, I don't know, we can introduce a little bit of Enneagram, but the Enneagram type 3 is looking for attention, external attention, loves the camera. So I started modeling. That's how I started the experimentation. I mean, it went well. Then I was having some bookings, castings. I had a lot of fun. And this human design, it tells you have to follow your excitement. I love being in a casting and being in front of the camera. So I enjoyed it. But of course, I have to make a living, right? And and then I have the family pressure. So then I think I was experimenting, and manifesting generator is also these different things at the same time. So I took that as a truth, and I started doing 10 things at the same time, which is not because I was doing modeling, I was studying trading, I was in real estate, I was on social. I mean, I was doing so many things. And yeah, I think that phase of the 6 line, the first phase, the 3 line that has to experiment,
Mhm.
I realized I didn't had a teenage years.
Mm.
So now, last year, 2 years ago, is when I started my teenage years. To really do what I wanted to do. Yes. So this was kind of what led me finally to here, but this experimentation and following my excitement with a lot of frustration in the way, by the way. But
Yeah, which is normal, no?
yes, yes.
I love it. And then so also I think I was reading the emotional authority. gave you this permission to also slow down, right? And take things a little bit, yeah, at a slower pace.
Yeah, exactly. And that I didn't understand until now, 2 years afterwards. Emotional authority are really intense people, and I think in my way. And I was really not waiting for clarity. I was just going for it and going to this event and doing this. And I have four motors defined in my tropical design. So I'm doing so many things, and people are just tired of watching me. So many things. Also, I think my ego, defined ego, there's the three channels there, not the 2644. The other ones are defined. So it's just I want to do things and I want to accomplish, which also connects with the Enea type 3 that is validated by the things he accomplishes. So I think the also starting validating myself for who I am, and not what I do is the Enea type 3. I always link it to Enneagram because Enneagram is like a consciousness also map, nine
Mhm.
personalities. I think it's easier to see
Mhm.
when you identify yourself. But yeah, the emotional authority is now when okay, I have an impulse, but I wait. And with the days, I gain so much clarity. Like now, look at this is my whiteboard. I'm a incarnation cross of education. So I like to, I have so many ideas, but I don't act on them.
Yeah.
Because, hey, well, not all the ideas you have to follow your strategy and authority. So I'm just writing down and what you say in your podcast, right? Slowing down and taking a stop. And then you do, as a manifesting generator, also, then you do more efficient
Yeah.
because you have waited and then it's just poof. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it because I also, in my tropical, I'm a 2-4 manifesting generator. And
Okay.
I also had this like, oh my God, finally I can do all the things. And this multi-passionate, it was like this permission slip that I needed. But then, like you say, we can go crazy a little bit and be all over the place, jump into things and get unnecessarily frustrated, I think. And I have actually an undefined solar plexus, but as I have learned human design, I mean, I'm also not supposed to rush into things because I can amplify emotions, right? So when I feel hyper excited, I have to like, okay, no, 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 like let me wait. And it really has served me to wait out. And I have noticed now over the years of experimenting, sometimes I have an idea, it may start to manifest a year later
Yes. Yes.
because it all starts with this like, oh, there's something there. And also, I don't know if you have learned this about the manifesting generator, which honestly I think applies to all humans, is like we first respond to something, right? Like, oh yeah, there's something there. And then we have this envisioning phase, which is
Mm.
like, let me play with the idea, but not fully go in. And that envisioning phase can take a week, it can take a year, it can take longer. And at some point, it's like, now it's time to go. And I mean, it's almost like the universe gonna keep you up at night when it's time to go. So you really know when it's time to do something or to launch something or to really make a big bold move and take that action. So
Yes. Yes. I love it. And this thing about the vision, I can so relate. I was I was relating it more to the sixth line because I had a clear vision of what I wanted in the future or what was resonating to me. It has changed, but now I'm kind of starting manifesting this what I saw last year or
mhm.
1.5 years ago. So yeah, I think it takes time, and also I'm learning a lot about the law of unseen grace, which is a really interesting law. And I don't know if you know the concept on the sphere of attraction of the Venus sequence.
Yeah.
The Venus sequence starts with the sphere of purpose and then moves to the sphere of attraction with the Dharma pathway. And this sphere of attraction tells you about your sexuality, your sexual wound, but also about what you're attracting to your field. And we always listen in YouTube about the law of attraction
Mhm.
and the law of manifestation. And you can manifest whatever you want, and there's these laws, and sometimes when you read Jinkies, of course, it changes your whole perspective and perception, but you start understanding that you basically don't know what you want. Most of the times what you want is not what you need or what's gonna fulfill you. So the law of unseen grace is that you attract what you need to step into the higher version of yourself, and then that's the purpose of life. And so yeah, about the ideas, right? You can have this idea, but it's about, I think, your podcast, right? Slowing down, and if it's meant to be, it will happen because you're at this channel and your creative process. If you put yourself on service, which is something I'm now teaching people in my YouTube, be of service. And when you are of service, then you surrender yourself to whatever comes and wants to be channeled.
Yeah.
And
I love this. I want to actually go a little bit deeper into this because I think I think it's the law of unseen grace you call, right?
unseen graces.
So because, I think we all have watched The Secrets and like you say, the law of attraction. And I always felt some resistance. This whole concept of like, and all the teachings still today mostly start with, well, you need to know what you want and then da 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 da. And I'm like, I think we have this backwards. How do I even know what I want? I mean, human design helped me so much that the mind is not here to make decisions. It's most likely my ego that is telling me that's what you need or that's what you want. Most likely it's something I have picked up from somebody else because I have bought into the belief that this is what you need, this is what success looks like, all these kind of things. And I really felt so much peace when human design came into my life because that for the first time gave me this, like, I don't want to say I'm right, but I really felt, I think my body is showing me that there's a different way. Because it's really backwards if we always like, this is what I want. And then over time, when I could let go of like, okay, and it's funny, like this morning I sent out an email and I wrote in there, while I often find myself not knowing what I want, I used to think it's a bad thing, but I now think it's actually great because that makes me open to receive what is actually meant, what I truly need to fully live my purpose. And here and there, as I'm not looking for it, there are some desires that come from here, from my heart, not from
Yeah.
here. This I right now have this very clear desire that I want to live close by the water because I just love water, like lake or the ocean. I spent 3 weeks in the Pacific Northwest. Oh my gosh, it's just like, and more connection to nature in general, right? So that's just something so strongly there. But it didn't come from sitting down and trying to figure it out with my mind. It was through experiencing life and yeah, enjoying the bliss of it and actually letting the water show me that I want it. You know?
Yes, I love it. Yep.
Yeah. It makes it also so much easier, I find, because again, who am I to know? Because the I is the ego too, right? Let life show me what I'm here for and what my heart desires so that I can really fulfill my purpose. I really love that.
Jinky 19. CD is the sacrifice.
I love that.
Sacrifice, sacrifice who you are or who you think you are. That's
Yeah.
the best. Because then you can just be of service of life, and just life will show you what's meant for you. And one of the questions I always, because one of my questions was who am I? And I have the Jinky 46 on my purpose, so my birth on design for human speakers. And basically, when you read it, you don't have a purpose. If you're looking for purpose, you're wasting your time. And it was like, no, I'm spending so much time about this methodology of self-knowledge with Enneagram, all these tools so you can know yourself. And at the end, what you're saying, right? Why do I need to know what I want? Why do I need to know who am I? And have an opinion, right? On something. That's my Anja or Achna. These things you have to know about. Maybe it's the Jinky 25, which accept whatever it is, and why, and 42, Jinky 42, expectations on the future.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So you start with the Jinkies, understanding the language. It's a new language, and
Yeah.
I now speak on Jinkies.
Yeah, I have that too. Like love human design, but I find the description of the gene keys for the gates so much more powerful. I mean, it's incredible. And it's super funny. My partner has the same incarnation cross as you. And I remember when I read his like with the you need to let go of your purpose. That's when it will find you actually, right? Because we're and even like with human design, anytime people come to me like, yeah, what is my purpose? I'm like, well, the more you chase it, it's gonna run away from you. Like when you can let go of trying to find your purpose, it will find you, through taking one action at a time, make yourself useful in life, make yourself share the gifts that you were given, and then it will reveal itself.
Yeah, I think that's what's my purpose, right? And I have several definitions for that. I think if you look it in the activation sequence, the purpose is to feel good in your body. You
Mm.
know, feel that your soul that is incarnated in this physical reality, because most of the new age is all about ayahuasca and going somewhere. But hey, guys, the heaven on earth, it's here. It's about experiencing this day-to-day life,
Yeah.
not about going somewhere else. So this is the first definition, to be at in skin. I don't know how to call it in English, but feel good in your own skin, I think is the
Yeah.
phrase. The second is to um I think it's more on the Venus, is about, well, relationships. Find the love. It can be in you most of all, but also a relationship that can be not an intimate relationship, but I think also that's one of our purposes. And then to help each other and be of service. And I think most of the people, when are in this phase of what's my purpose, and all that, it's a victim state. Instead of that, why don't you just focus on helping and whatever you can? And I think most people think they have to know more. That's why they just do workshops of human design. They go to events and they just keep learning, keep learning. And I think it's really easy. Hey, just pull your YouTube channel and share your process and share what you've been going through. Hey, how do you feel today? Look, if me just going out there and saying that I, as a man, had bulimia, which man does actually come out of the closet and say that they have eating disorders? You will hear no man saying that, because you're a man and you cannot have that, and all this stuff. So just putting yourself out there is, you're helping a lot of people. And we are living now in a situation, because of of course, 2027, and the increase on the Schumann frequency, and we're now realizing a lot of things, and there are a lot of people in depression, anxiety. So we have a lot of work to do. So yeah, so I think there's so much hand needed, in social media. It's a great tool to get your message across and show
Yeah.
your life.
Yeah,
Mm.
it's such a blessing. If you don't mind, I would like to pull up your chart because there's a couple of things I want to share with you, because just from talking to you, I feel like, I don't know, it's important to mention. And I want to also share, thank you for talking about the eating disorder, because I had one myself when I was in my teenager years. I had anorexia. So, and I had some friends that were bulimic as well. And I always feel like, yeah, why not share with other people? Because that's part of who I am, who I'm, that's my story with that. So I find that also really inspiring, like you said, especially also to hear from a man, definitely. So this is your tropical chart. So like we said, right, you are 6'2" Manigen. The one thing that really stands out when I look at the chart, there's two things, and it's funny, I think I attract people with those kind of markers. And you have both. You have the healer is very strong in your chart, because the undefined spleen, I mean, yours is open. It's almost like if you there's nothing. I mean, this is incredible. Your chart is very unique. I mean, every chart is unique, but there's like nothing here defined, right? I think that's very incredible on the left
In
side.
my first reading that I had, also with a German woman, her name is, I don't know, remember the name. Well, she said to me, "Your chart is amazing because it's all the right has kind of color, and
Mm.
all the left, like the half left, is just open."
Yeah, it's like it shows the polarity of life, right? The what we have, and an undefined or open spleen is like you can sense how other people feel and their sense of well-being. So oftentimes when people have like healing qualities, there is an undefined or even like an open spleen.
Yes, and sorry for interrupting you, but that's something I'm learning. I'm learning, and I've been also not validating, but how do you say, saying, Bruno, yes, you are really sensible. Look at my variables, my spleen. I sense a lot. I feel a lot, and what I feel, I'm not wrong,
Mhm.
because I also had a toxic relationship 6 years, and the girl had the spleen defined, and I was sensing everything, but she was just saying no, and she was kind of making me change my mind. But I
Mm.
was feeling everything, so now I'm really tuned into that I have this, yeah, capacity to sense the other person. And let me tell you something: when I cannot go inside someone, I know that person is hiding something, because I can read everybody. And also with all these tools, also morphopsychology, which is analyzes the face and the nonverbal movement, and that tells
Oh,
that tells you about eh, mostly everything, right? And also about the wounds of infancy, right? Abandonment is a bigger. I have all this knowledge in my mind, so when I see people, I can sense mostly everything. So
mm,
yeah.
I love it. Yeah, and with that, the gate 25 or the 25th jinki, which you have in your radiance, right? Your unconscious sun. So it's a super dominant placement in your chart. That's also like an energy of a healer. And so
Mm.
is gate 19, which you have double defined, right? In your Uranus. So it's like you have all three markers in your chart. So that's just something that's super strong. And the other thing that's also very strong is teaching. Because gate 11 is a teaching energy. So is gate 45 and the whole channel 4521. I also, it's funny, I have that defined in my tropical chart as well. And then
Mm.
gate 12, which is the conscious sun, is also a teaching energy. We call it the channel, or like, when you speak, when you're on the mood. So plus, I mean, the 12 and the 11 both are part of your incarnation cross, right? So
Yes, yes,
it's very dominant. And then also gate 23, you have that as well. So that is also, which is all as you know about simplicity.
yes.
Well, these are just two kind of themes that are like super strong in your chart.
Yeah,
So
and then you have the 46. 25 and 46 just helped me a lot, because when I had anxiety, I
mm,
was feeling a pressure on my chest.
mm,
That's what the shadow of the 25, which is constriction.
yeah.
You're constricted. And that made all the sense. And I said, "Oh, I've been feeling this pain. Like maybe 2 months ago, I started not feeling it because I've been doing physical exercise. So taking out the stress of the nervous system with some um, exercises. I can share about that later. And then the 26 is the love of the body. And I
Hmm.
was a person that was going to the gym 7 times a week. And
Wow.
look at my arrow, the digestion is to the right. I don't need now. I've been 1 month without training and I feel amazing. I don't need so much training. I just move and walk
Mm.
and stretch, and that's what I need. And the eating disorders, right, with the 46. Um, yes.
Yeah,
So
we can overdo it, right? We can, and then we dysmorph the body actually when we overdo it excessively. Yeah. So yeah, I love that. So yeah, and then I mean your 6-2 profile, I think you already talked a lot about, right? How you really resonate with that
I
being
think the archetype of the exemplary human being, I
Mhm.
think, because in my YouTube, for example, everyone that comes, I have always a link. I have all my story, that like everything what I've done, what I've tried, and all the realizations, it's a big, 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 big PDF, and
Mm.
people read it and they see, wow, okay. And I think that's what I want to do in my business. It's not about human design, Jinkies. It's just a vehicle. But what I'm actually showing is that you can lose the fear. My 21 is my vocation. Losing the fear of and the how do you say in English? Failure is the
Uh,
city.
yeah.
So it's about this stepping into the fear. And always what I ask myself is, what's my fear? And now, for example, it's making me a tattoo. I want to tattoo myself, but
Hmm.
there's so much restriction on my family about that topic that when I think about it, it's just Uh, yeah. So, for example, that's an example.
I love that. I love that. Yeah. So I really love how this human design chart, right? The tropical chart has really helped you love and accept yourself more and yeah, step more into your authority and more into your power. And do you also want to have a peek at your
Yeah,
cosmic?
that would be
Yeah.
amazing. Yes.
Because I think that's how we connected, right? Because I was posting on Instagram something about, hey, human design is an experiment, because I have been very, since the beginning of this year, into cosmic human design or true sidereal. And I found an even greater resonance with that. While I love my tropical chart, right? It has served me greatly. And so I open up the conversation, and people like you have reached out to me and like, oh, well, thank you for sharing this or bringing this up. Actually, I'm going to put the genetic matrix version here. It's a little bit easier to read, sort of.
Yes.
So what I love here, so now you're 2-4 generator, right?
To for
Still, yeah, still, and it's funny because I'm also a generator in my cosmic chart. So we are a mani-gen and then a generator, right? And you have the gate 8 as your conscious sun. That's the most authentic
yes.
energy. And I mean, that's what you all talk about, right? And I saw your page, which is in Spanish, right? Your bio. And I was like, wow. Because you're sharing, like you said, you share everything you've gone through, experimented, learned, and
Yes.
it's it's almost like a biography. You can turn it into a book.
Yeah, basically, well, that's the purpose of it. Just a sneak peek. But
Yeah.
I'm gonna, well, of course, I want to write so many books. And one of them is for my life.
Yeah.
Uh,
So looking at this chart right now, what's coming up there for you? Now you have an undefined throat center.
so so the what I was thinking was the emotional has to be there because I feel so that's the open heart. I think it describes a lot all this and need for amplified pressure to accomplish.
Yeah, yeah,
I think the open heart is there. But I think what I've been since your post and I pulled this out, when I was reading the Gene Keys, of course I was doing my sequences, but I also was pulling different Gene Keys, and I read the 29. And when
mm,
I read the 29, I didn't know about this tropical design. I read it like 3 months ago, and the 29 really got into my core. I was doing the dishes in a kitchen, but I was doing the dishes really quick, and I was even leaving some things not well done, and then some I was in a place in Andalusia in Spain, and they were saying to me, hey, you have to do the kitchen well and put everything in their place and so on, because we are living in a community and so on. And then I was reading the 29 and I read it, and the 29 Jinky goes from half-heartedness to compromise to devotion. And
mhm,
I think I was speaking about this before in another way, the devotion, about devoting yourself to your creative process and being of service. And it really made the difference when I started contemplating this 29. It's about doing everything, not only with compromise, but also putting yourself in it. And then when I saw the true sidereal chart, I saw the 29 and I was like, fuck, this is me. Yeah.
yeah. And you know what's interesting? It's the so the channel, because you have the 46 also great resonance, right? But the 29 is the other side of the channel.
Yes.
There it also has a lot to do with the 46 energy as well. Yeah.
And there's the 22 and I have the 12. And there's the 43 and I have the 23. And there's the 33 and I have the 13.
Yeah, that's so true. You have the other ones there, right? It's super fascinating. Yeah.
So the first thing that I saw were, and also gate 10. I really resonated with gate 10.
Mm, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we often say that. So, I mean, especially the bulimia story can in the shadow, right? Can have also a lot to do with the energy of gate 10. Because there's a little bit of this self-obsession in the shadow, right? Where yeah, we overdo it also with the self-love in the body. We feel like we need to look perfect and all of that. Could be also with the physical activity and all of that. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Amazing. I have the tantric channel to 14. I like
Oh
it.
yeah, that's a beautiful, yeah, and that's your conscious Earth, the 14. And then the 2 is your conscious Mars.
There's a sentence in Russian. It's called Zalote Ruki, means hands of gold. And I was saying that to my wife a lot a couple of weeks ago, and I've been saying that. And I think the 214, I don't know if I remember, but it was making gold of things. I don't know if there's
Yeah, the 214, I have that channel in both charts defined. And it's really about, so the 14 is the only place in the chart where we do things for money, right? Where we actually, we love creating and getting money for that. It's just a beautiful dance. And then the 2 is the most receptive feminine energy. So when we like take the action and we create and respond to life, through being tapped into the feminine, right? We actually create abundance, and we're also here to help other people create abundance. So
okay. Okay, I was relating that more to the 45, which makes money and then distributes.
yeah,
Uh yeah. But
there's also that energy. But yeah, here it's really like, I mean, you are responding to abundant opportunities and you create, but it's
yes.
also here to help others with that, because as you do it, you show it to others, you inspire others, right? So
Yeah, I resonate more. I didn't resonate so much with the 13.
mm.
I don't like to listen too much. I mean, I listen really well, but I have to put my effort in there. But I resonate more in the 33. You can make a fucking life or a fucking movie from my life. There's so many
Yeah.
things happening, and I need this retreat as well. And
Mm.
also the 16. I'm really talented person, really talented. But I'm looking always for this depth on the 48, like studying and you
Mhm.
know,
Mhm.
and so
Yeah,
yeah, I resonate with that as well.
yeah, I love it. No, and I mean it's really interesting because I mean the 33 is your north node, so that's something as you get older you're gonna even feel more, because the north node is something that gets more. I mean we tap more into it around the age of 40, um, but it's also already very very strong for you, like you said. And the 16 is also, it's like a manifesting generator archetype in some way, right? Because the 16 is about versatility, about merging all your different talents with another. And I mean, now you're a generator, but you still have manifesting generator energies there in that sense. That's what I always love about, because the 16 is it's a multi-passionate kind of energy in that sense.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, nice. This is nice. So I'm really glad that you did that post. Sometimes you don't know who is gonna profit from making a post. You changed some life here because this was a really, really like a breakthrough for me as well. There's also this and yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I have started to really see human design in such a different perspective, because it's so easy for us to put ourselves in a box,
yes.
right? And also human design with the 5 types. If we put 9 or 8 billion people into 5 types, we really can't, if we think about it, right? And the way that I really look at a chart now is mainly through the gates and the channels and all of that, and not so much about the type, because every chart has, like, you have a completely open spleen in your tropical chart. I'm sure you resonate a lot with a reflector. Would be weird if you don't.
Mm.
Right? And most channels in the chart are actually projected energy. So we are most likely heavily related to a projector, because if you give unsolicited advice to somebody, it's probably not going to go well, not just for a projector, also for manager, and even for a manifester, you know?
Exactly, exactly. Starting, that's what I said on the beginning. I think we were not recording, but seeing this as a map more than a box, and that there's all these channels that are projecting channels, initiating channels, and I think it's when you understand so all the types, you understand all the profile lines,
Mm.
and and at the end, yeah, I think it's coming to this point of accepting yourself as you are. And of course, you're gonna keep learning about human design, and it's always nice, and also always gives you an insight. But I think when you begin with human design, it's like, oh, I want to know everything, and and it's like your mind is exploding. Yeah, but this is also a trap, and you fall again into another trap, which is again and again, and you're never gonna end up this. The only thing that it's is here, and being here and doing nothing.
Yeah,
Yes.
no, it's true. And I really feel like human design is a big purpose of it is to bring up all of our shadows. You
Mm.
know, that because if I project something onto the chart, it's something outside of myself, right? And like, oh, because of this, I'm supposed to do this. There's a level of codependency here, right? I have found the most alignment when I could really let go of it. And like, I think anybody, when you trust yourself, you don't really need human design or anything.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, it's a tool to help you trust yourself and find validation and find more acceptance. Like, because we like to have like, why am I like this? Because we think I shouldn't be like this. And once you see it in a gene key, I'm like, oh, this is normal. Like, there's nothing wrong with it. Like, I'm not the only one that probably feels this way, you know? And what also helped me tremendously at the Pearl sequence, I don't know if you have gone through the Pearl sequence already, but at the very end,
Yes, a little bit.
Richard Rudd says, oh, and the biggest joke of all is that all 64 gene keys apply to all of us, which is true. This is like this universal wisdom. And even, I mean, the sun moves through all 64 gates and gene keys. So does the earth. I mean, the moon moves through all 64 in the course of 29 days. So for us to just like hyper focus, I'm this and I cannot be this. This is binary thinking where we're like, it's this or that. I invite everybody, like, it can be this and that, and you can be a blend of everything. It's just that certain parts at certain times in your life are going to be more relevant to you. And I think that's why, in our experience with the experiment, there was tropical for me, it was also about 4 years. I had no interest whatsoever in this sidereal. I heard about it many years ago. I was like not even slightly interested. And at some point, it came back, and all of a sudden, I felt this like pull in my body. That's what human design taught me. Follow that.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, oh, there's more than just tropical human design. And just from what I have experienced so far is I personally feel even more alignment for myself, and also working with my clients. It's really like, yeah, bringing up those things like, oh, here I was trying to still fit in a box. He was trying to tell myself this is how it has to be because that was my chart. And now I'm like, oh yeah, well, like it's more fluid. It's more, um, yeah, giving in all ways, so that you use it in a way that just simply serves you, you know, but not box you in any way or form.
Yeah. So now one question. So now with your clients, you also go into the true sidereal, or you're teaching this, like bringing.
Yeah, actually, that's a great question. And actually, I had another one of my contacts on Instagram. She asked me about it, and I actually told her I'm going to do a podcast. So now let's talk about this because you asked me, right? As well. So I think there are many of you guys here, like you, well, you have been using tropical human design, right? And now, okay, what? what am I going to do now? Because now there's tropical and now there's cosmic human design. What am I going to use with my clients? To me, there is no right or wrong. You know, I first was like, okay, I'm going to continue offering tropical. And I do mainly readings now where I look at both charts, the tropical and the cosmic human design chart. And that has been working really, really well. But I have noticed more and more people, they want the true sidereal, right? The cosmic version of the human design. And I think I'm going to stop offering the tropical because that just has been my evolution with that.
Your sacral now
Yeah,
to
like I have to trust myself, right? And I have to be honest, in the beginning, I felt like, damn, is this going to screw my business? Because I have been doing this for so long now. But hey, the one thing that I learned from human design is I have to trust myself. I have to be true to myself. And this has been my evolution. And also, the way that I have been teaching human design for years already is very fluid. I
Mm,
even have done a master class about how we all respond, no matter what the type is. you know
yes.
and maybe that's a gift I have. Like, I can easily see how things overlap and how it's not this or that, but it's everything in some way. And I have never seen the types so like mutually exclusive because it just doesn't make sense to me. I also learned that in the beginning there were no types in human design. That's something that came on later. And I mean, to answer the question, trust yourself seriously on that. But if you feel deep inside there is some greater resonance with one version, if that's tropical or cosmic, doesn't matter which one it is, I do invite you to step into that. Because so we are always want to do what's popular, right? And right now, you're probably going to get more followers, more likes if you do the traditional human design. You just focus on the types, this very separated view of everything. Oh, the generators are here to build. The manifestors are here to initiate, and the projectors are here to guide, right? Yes, but it can also go very south with that because there's a lot of things happening. For example, I cannot tell you how many generators I've talked to that feel so disempowered. Like, yeah, I feel like I'm just going to be the worker bees for the projectors, and everybody's telling me like, and I'm like, okay, hold on, this is really not what human design is about. So what has been happening, like this hierarchy? Oh, if I'm this type, I'm better. This profile is better, and that is just bringing up all of the shadows. I mean, Gene Key 50. That's the hierarchy we talk about, right? And I was like, very, very interesting to observe, right? Because no type is better than the other. And if you have been in the human design space for a while, you're going to see that, right? Where people make comments or they're like, oh, we need this type to, make sure all these other types are going to build and create, and we can just sit on the street and watch them. I mean, that's not really what it's about at all, right? But again, I think it's supposed to happen. It's supposed to bring up all these shadows and the whole thing with cosmic human design, because I'm going to give you an example. Like, I had a client was a reflector in the tropical chart, completely undefined everything. And in the cosmic, all 9 centers defined.
Okay.
Yeah. A generator. So that's going to throw people off. But I'll tell you what, I see that person incredibly empowered now, because oftentimes we create these stories. Oh, if I have these things undefined, like, or like if you're a reflector, often people feel like, oh, I'm just here to reflect and don't do anything else, right? That can happen with people. Or people have the story like, oh, if I'm a projector, I don't have any kind of energy, which is complete nonsense, complete nonsense.
Yes.
you know or people think, oh, I have to have a defined sacral to have any kind of energy. I mean, we have 4 motor centers in the chart, and all of them have on and off cycles, and even if you have it undefined, you still have access to that energy. It's just the way you experience this is different. And so, going back to this, like, if you go with a mind, you're probably gonna stick with tropical because it's more popular. It's what gets you more likes, because that's kind of, I mean, wherever you go to pull a human design chart, it's the tropical chart, you know? So we are really here paving a new path, in some way, you know, and it has been there. I think when did they start Cosmic Human Design? I think it was already 4 years ago, you know,
Or
and yeah, and I had a lot of people. So when I started earlier this year to talk about my journey, like I was just like, well, I'm just going to talk about it, whatever. I had so many people reach out to me thanking me and like also then telling me that they had been working already with Cosmic Human Design for years, but they kind of stayed undercover because they felt like they're getting a lot of backlash from the very yeah, strong traditional human design community where it's like, well, but Ra said, and this is wrong, what you guys are doing, and we have to stick to what it was. But what is the only constant? Change.
Hmm.
So in even Cosmic Human Design, maybe that's gonna evolve. I don't know. I'm just
Hmm.
going with what feels right and true to me, that's serving me, that I feel like is serving my clients, because I feel like I'm not going to be of service if I hold back that knowledge. And
Compromise.
and
Compromise.
for me, I'm also, I mean, I'm very like math person. I like numbers and I like accuracy. And when I just learned what true sidereal astrology is, where it's like, okay, this is what's really in the sky.
Yeah.
So, because most likely your sun sign is not what your sun sign really was in the sky when you were born. It's
Hmm.
the sign before.
Hmm.
You know, so I was born in February and it's always like, yeah, you're an Aquarius, but when I was born in 82, the sun was actually in Capricorn, not in Aquarius.
Hmm.
Tropical astrology has not taken into account the shifts we have had every 72 years, 1 degree. So it's over like 32 degrees now that it's off. And
Hmm.
I'm like, I rather align with nature and astronomy than a system that was fixed over 2000 plus years ago. It just doesn't make any kind of sense to me. So, and I'm not saying tropical astrology is wrong, but for me, it's just like, okay, that just doesn't make sense. That's it. And that's my Annalena perspective. I'm not telling you you need to follow my perspective, but I just want to share my perspective on it, you know?
And I love it, and I encourage you. And I always in my YouTube say this is not, for example, for my eating disorders. There's a video.
Mm-hmm.
Design and Jinkies is not the solution.
Yeah.
It's not the solution. So it's not the solution. For me, it was a physical going deep to the nervous system. My wife stepping me on the knee, on the back of my legs and doing really harm to me, breathing and transmuting the pain. And now she can welcome me and I don't feel anything because it's out. But all that, I don't want to use the word trauma, but at the end is stress.
Yeah.
Um, it's in your body, and this is something also I'm starting to talk in my YouTube. Nobody talks about this. There's this guy is called Human Garage in Instagram.
It's so funny. When I read your whole bio earlier, I was like, I need to mention Human Garage to you because I thought you may love it. I have been using it myself. I love these guys.
Yes, the fashion maneuvers. I mean,
Yeah.
The Gary guy is amazing.
Yeah,
Like,
I have been, I want to invite him on my podcast because these people are
yes, you have.
incredible. I have been literally doing it for a month and a half, and I was like, I need to start telling people about it because it's the physical movement. I mean, you can read and study gene keys and human design. If you're not gonna freaking move your body and breathe, nothing is gonna move, right?
It's understanding the three bodies. So mental, emotional, and physical.
Yeah.
And who is running the show? The subconscious, and the subconscious is the body. That's why design it's important to know in personality as well, but design. And for example, now I do exercises for the organs. So I start with the lungs, I with the large intestine, which is all this meridian, and
Mm-hmm.
how tight we are. I just do this. I couldn't do this.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
when I do this, I'm stretching all this,
Huh.
the large intestine, which is perfection. Then I do the lungs, which is this goes up and I'm in a straight line.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the lungs, which is here. Then I do the stomach. Then I do the spleen. Then I do the kidneys, which is where you have all the fear, is
Yeah,
here.
yeah, yeah.
So understanding that it's so important in Gary, it's taking another perspective. It's all about fascial maneuvers. So the fascia and how on the fascia there's all this emotion. My wife did another practitioner, so she's teaching me, but it's the same at the end. It's the
Yeah,
same.
yeah, yeah.
It's about moving this stagnant energy on the meridians.
Hmm.
And nobody talks about this. Nobody talks about this.
Yeah.
And Human Garage is doing a really, really good
Yeah.
job.
Yeah. I'm gonna put the link here in the comments because they offer this for free. It's so incredible. And it takes about 15 minutes a day. They have like a 1 day, 3 day, 7 day. I'm in the 28-day challenge right now. And I
Oh,
have been doing it every day. I'm actually amazed by myself because that's why I also haven't been talking about it because I mean I can start things and then I let it go. But they really make it easy, to do it. And I have really started to notice some shifts with that as well. It's pretty incredible.
but you want to do it. You want to do
Yeah,
it.
I feel so much better. I mean, I feel like I'm alive and I'm like, and it's
And I first before what I would do to distress myself would be watch pornography and masturbate myself and come. Or the other thing would be to eat and more coffee or sugar. And now I'm proud of myself. I go in the supermarket, I see the cookies. I would buy a whole package of cookies and eat it, honestly. And you know what is to there's a lot of people living in this state. Every day is a struggle because you have to fight against your own enemy, which is yourself,
Mhm.
to and then you punish yourself, and it's really, really sad at the end. But this work that I did with my wife, which is it's more the emotional release in the fascia, has changed my life, and I feel amazing. I know I understand. I have the tools, so
Mhm.
I want to bring awareness to this. If you're eating garbage or you're watching Pornhub or all these things, it's not your fault. You're not a bad person. It's that you're choosing these easy tools that also you spend money, but you don't have the tools of the fashion maneuvers. Like for example, that's a easier and healthier way of distressing yourself because we are stressed. Life is stressful. If you have a business or you go to the street, all the cars and all the noise, and it's stressful. And we need to understand, start distressing ourselves every day, like you brush your teeth.
Yeah.
And this I don't know what you wanted to say before, but I wanted to address this. It's important.
No, no, I love it. I love it. It's so funny that you also, yeah, that you brought up the human garage because I have mentioned it to a couple of people here and there in some conversations and stuff. But yeah, I mean, we were talking about gene keys and human design. We really have to understand that's on the mental level, right? And it's amazing, but if you're not going to move your body in any way or form, it's kind of limited. And also, I mean, I see this a lot, especially with human design. And I think we have all been there at the beginning. I think you mentioned it like, oh my God, now I want to know everything. I need to understand the whole gate and I need to figure out my chart. You don't need to figure out anything. Like
Yes.
it's more like it's an activation that happens. That's why I love the gene keys. It's more like just read a gene key and spend a whole month with it and contemplate and let it go. And then when you take a shower, go for a brisk walk, all of a sudden you have the epiphany, or all of a sudden you really like vividly see your shadow behavior and like, okay, like, oh, now
Yes.
I'm aware, now I can change it. Amazing.
Yes. Yes.
So yeah, no, I love it. And so one more thing I wanted, because I think we spoke about it earlier. So before we started recording, so your wife calls you Quantum Leap Speedy Gonzalez, and she's all about slowing down. I just want to kind of have you share that
Yeah,
story.
so she calls me quantum leap transformation. I didn't put it on the
Um,
phone. Quantum leap transformation, Speedy Gonzalez, because I am so fast on transforming myself. Just so the audience can know, on January, I was still the kid of my mom. I was living with my mom and with my parents, and um, and now I'm just being a father, and I'm stepping into this masculine man healing all my masculine. And I mean, this is so fast because what I do is, okay, I see this is not in alignment. I don't wait. I just go for it. And because I don't know, my soul is really hungry to expand and be the purest version.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I see, and for example, I only have 24 contacts in my phone.
Nice.
Or if I see someone that is out of integrity and is talking to me, I've closed so many relationships, and I've addressed what I felt, and I have the 42, and the 42 is about closing,
Mm.
and really makes a sense. And I close, and I don't allow anything that is out of alignment. I can't. And of course, I have a lot of things, but when I'm conscious about it, I address it. And I think and of course, to address it and to be conscious of it, you have to slow down, which
Yeah.
is so if you don't slow down, you're in this wheel, doing. You cannot see what's going on. That maybe the first thing you should do is talk to your mom or to your dad or to your spouse, address why we're not having sex, for
Mm.
example, and still doing your human design. That's why I wanted to say to you that when someone comes to my session looking for whatever, sometimes I even don't pull up the chart because it's not about the human design. It's
Yeah.
about you have to clean. I call it you have to clean your house and your mess. And of course you don't have clarity with your life because it's messed up. You have to start cleaning and you have to get rid of things that are not serving you anymore and then stepping into the new version. So that's why my wife calls me Quantum Leap Speedy Gonzalez, because she's a really good projector. She doesn't tell me until I do it. I
Mm.
do the transformation, and then she says yes. So she's waiting for me to.
Mm.
Also, as a woman in a man, like letting the man become the man and not telling him what he's doing wrong and what he should be, and making him see his how do you say in English, enough, because men want to be enough, right?
Yeah.
Women are afraid of being too intense. So allowing the man to find himself by himself that he is already enough and feeling already enough, not by the woman saying it. And all this, we can also do a podcast about this because I'm learning so much about, yeah, the true masculine and the true feminine, and how it all is also messed up nowadays.
Mm. Wow. Yeah. So much goodness to talk about. I love that. Thank you for sharing. And to wrap it up, I would love, first of all, how can people get in touch with you? That's my
Yes,
first.
so my name is Bruno Perales. So all my socials are Bruno Perales. If you look in Instagram, Bruno Perales, I'm there. The thing is, I'm doing everything in Spanish. So if
Which is
everyone,
great because I told you I had a lot of people actually reach out to me that mainly speak Spanish, and I know a little bit of Spanish, but I can't do sessions in Spanish. So
yeah.
if you are Spanish looking, please go to him.
Exactly. So I'm more in YouTube. I found myself really more at ease with my whiteboard and explaining. So I'm more in YouTube, but of course you can find me on Instagram as well. So yeah, Bruno Perales is my name, my socials.
Wonderful. And then one final question I have for you. If there would be like one piece or nugget of wisdom that was life-changing for you, what would that be that you want to share with everyone? It can be a combination of things too.
Yeah, but what comes to my mind is ask yourself, what's your fear now? What's your fear? What you're fearing? And be honest. It can be a talk, it can be doing, I don't know, something you are not allowing yourself to do, and just go and do it and have the conversation and do it. And you will see you don't need human design. So I do human design, Jinkies, and all this, but you don't need it. You just need to be honest with yourself. What are you fearing? What's your fear now? And just step into it. And you will see how you transform yourself. So I think if I should give any advice would be just that one. Yes.
Yeah, it's a big one. Feel the fear and do it anyways. Hmm. Wonderful. That's the wisdom of the open spleen. So thank you for that.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. So thank you so much. Bruno. This was a super fun conversation. We could probably go on for hours. And thank you, listeners, for being here with us, for your curiosity as always. And again, thank you, Bruno. And just very excited to be with you all on the next episode.